I just had the most interesting conversation on that subject, and I really, really wanted to share it with you because I know that it's something I wanted to talk about since forever. And I just got so inspired. I know that it's going to be like a very helpful piece of information. So, more people, especially more young people, really need to know about that. So, first of all, that is also me. If you bothered by it, I cannot do anything. Yes, I'm using a ring light to put up my phone. What else? How else can I use it? Anyway, first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. I started to take social media a little bit more seriously this year, I'd say maybe the end of 2023. And I really thought that the demons in me would let me do more with it, but they kind of won, and a lot happened to me, and I was a lot depressed for a while, and I just couldn't keep up with the pressure of being present on social media. Because honestly, people who go like, oh my god, content creators and influencers, they do a shitty job. They are not. It takes so much courage, strength, and many other things to put yourself out there in the world and to just fucking take a camera and start recording yourself, knowing that potentially many people could see your content and the people that you know. So that's a lot, and that's something that I started to compare myself with other people, like I'm not doing things well enough and I'm not blah blah blah. So I'm sorry for that. If there's maybe one person here who watched my videos regularly, that's why I stopped. But I'm doing my best to work on myself. Am I still where I want to be? No, but never mind. The topic of today's conversation is how to find yourself in life, especially professionally speaking, because I am somebody who've been looking for myself for quite a while. And honestly, if I think about it, when I was 13, 14, 15 is where I already knew what I was attracted to naturally, because I just had it in me. As you grow, you experience a lot of pressure from society, whether it's yourself, whether it's your parents, especially your parents, or just society as a whole. You really start losing yourself. You really hear people say like, okay, but you need to make money in life later on, so you cannot pursue this job or that job. But you need to think about your long-term goals, or you need, like, how are you gonna have a family if you get a job? Like, so many things to consider. And I completely lost myself. Also because I am an immigrant. I moved to a different country when I was just 18. Cute hair, don't care. And as an immigrant, you are just surviving. You are not here making conscious decisions, especially if you come from a lower income family, as I am myself. You cannot just freely choose to do things that you really want to do, because you always need to think about how you're going to pay your bills today, tomorrow, and forever. And I went to college simply because I had to go to college, not because I wanted to. The first year was like something that I really wanted to study. It was history of arts, and I got inspired by a content creator I was following back then, so years ago. And I quickly realized that even though it was interesting, I couldn't do anything with it professionally, which was frustrating. You are a new person in a new country. You need to make sure that you are not only feeling good about the job that you could be potentially doing later, but also, making enough money. There are opportunities, and I quickly realized that wasn't the case. Then there was something else that I was interested in, was languages. So I studied languages. I also loved it, but once again, I do not want to translate texts later in life. I do not want to be a teacher, so what else could you do with languages, right? So I went into marketing and communications because everything basically studies it, and it's just such a general thing. It's not bad, but was it something that I really wanted to do? No. But there's a good outcome still, because with that degree you can do so many things. And it's basically what I did, even though I was never truly happy. And I worked for great companies, like for luxury companies. I was still completely and utterly unimpressed and unhappy. I learned a lot, I should say. But then I started to work in music at one point in my life, and I loved it. It was like event management, and I really loved it. And I was for a while and surrounded by people who are like really inspired and really creative. I should say that things did not go for me the way I really wanted them to, because I ended up working with people who were fucking dishonest, and they just it just broke me. It just broke me because they fucking used me, and I ended up having this dream because I was really so invested in music, and I really could picture myself doing that and making money and being happy and being like working with people who inspired me. But life had different plans for me, and it actually redirected me to something different. I do not yet know what, but this is the subject of today, and today we want to know. I'm sorry I started to talk a little bit more about myself, but I feel like it's important to share my own examples so people understand a little bit the background story and how I learned all of those things. The thing that I want to talk about today is how to really find yourself professionally, speaking especially, and overall in life, because it's related. First of all, look back at what you wanted when you were younger in life, where nobody still put pressure on you because you were too young to start having sex and have kids, especially as a woman, because that's what society expects you and will for a long time. They want you to have a womb, they want you to find a man, and they want you to make kids. They want you to procreate. And you're still too young to go to college or to even know what you want to study in college, right? When you're 13, you're 14, they just leave you like, okay, we're going to talk about that later. So think about that time in your life. What did you really want when you were that young? Because if I look back at myself, the thing that I was doing, like I was binge watching concerts, music videos, I was listening to songs, so I was naturally attracted to something very creative. I was also attracted, even though it was still not a thing, to communities, to sharing, to helping each other. I would say like, podcast like things where you really sit down and discuss things with like-minded people. And podcasts, still didn't exist back then. But I knew, and I had that in me, like I was interested in content creation, but then I grew older, should I say? No, I still grew up. And I don't know, I just felt like content creation wasn't a thing because people put that into my head, because my mom, my family, everybody around me, it's like, it is not a thing, it is not something that you should do. Which is completely fake, by the way. If that's something you want to do, you should still keep pursuing it. Absolutely, 100%. So look back at that time. You're definitely you're gonna find some things that were already of your interest and really captured your soul, your mind, and attention. It does not necessarily need to be back at that time. But as I said, I really feel like teenagers really know. But overall, what is something that you naturally want to do without being paid? You just sit down, you're like, I love doing that. It could be reading books, it could be sports, it could be something manual, it could be anything. And don't you fucking dare tell me that there's nothing you like. There could be exception for people who experience traumas for a very, very long period of time, especially as children, so they're still discovering themselves. For the rest of you people, you fucking know, you just lying to yourself because you're too scared to start doing things that you really like. You're too scared of the outcomes. And I'm not judging, bitch. I am scared as fuck every single day of my life because I'm still looking for myself. Because back to me, once I was done with music, which was actually quite recent, like September 2023, I realized that I needed a job to provide for myself, which is for many other reasons, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find a job like in marketing and communications like I used to have. And it took me a lot of time because the market in 2023, 2024 is just absolutely crazy, batshit. And it took me like 8 months to find a job. I still had like a part-time job in between, but honestly. And now that I found a job, by the way, I found a job. Let's celebrate something to be grateful for. And now that I found a job, I'm like, okay, check. I need to think about something else. And I know that having this type of job for me is not sustainable in the long term. It is just not something that I want to do with my life and with myself, and I do not have it in me. And I look at my colleagues and they look perfectly happy with their job choice, and I don't want to criticize them or judge them for that, because some people know that they want to have that type of job and they are happy with it. How and why, I will never understand because I am different. I want different things from life, and I'm not scared to say that I want more. So many people are going to be pissed at you in life simply because you have more courage to discover yourself and your own needs and desires, because they're going to be, they have that in them too. They just too scared to explore it. So they're going to be blaming you probably, or just trying to convince you that's a bad thing. Do not listen to them. Really listen to that little inside voice of yourself saying that this is exciting. This is like, that's really something that I want to do. That's really something cute and cool and amazing. That voice is going to guide you. And you can undermine your voice. You can just like, oh no, oh, this is green beans for my salad. Give me a second. We are back with the Violetta TV podcast of the day, how to find yourself in life professionally, particularly. Green beans are still in the making. So, had I listened to that voice, excusez-moi, earlier in life, I would have been way happier, because I would be living an authentic life that suits me, the way that I want things, with the people who I trust and who I want to build things with. But society, the pressure that society puts on you is absolutely real, and I cannot undermine the effect on me. I don't want to say like I'm bigger than that or higher than that. Nobody is bigger and higher than that. The pressure is just fucking gigantic, and we are human beings. We are social beings, so other people's opinions still matter to us, at least unconsciously. It's not always healthy, but it's just how it is. You cannot undermine it once again. So, I forgot what I was to say, girl. So listen to that voice inside yourself. Do not let that little voice inside you die. Do not die. Do not kill it intentionally. Do not let other people do it. Sometimes it's even maybe better to not share all of the things. If you are facing somebody who you feel are not receptive enough around your ideas, dreams, and goals, it's best to keep to yourself. But once you find people who really see you for who you are, it's also a good thing to start talking about it. Because if you're still in the process of like realizing and understanding who you are and what you want, it's really important to find support from the right people who are ready to embrace it and understand it. And there are not going to be a lot of people like that in life, very unfortunately, because people are still very unhealthy. They have their own patterns to break. A lot of people are still very unhappy. A lot of people are projecting on you. So if you have at least one person in your life who is like that, who is receptive, who is open-minded, share your ideas with them. Do a brainstorming, like sit down and say like, okay, girl, I feel like this is something I'm really interested in, but there's something limiting me. What do you think could help? What do you overall think of that idea? Some people can give really, really valuable advice. Not everybody, but I know that some people, I'd say like myself, are very analytical. So we just like naturally tend to be problem solvers. And it's nice to have problem solvers in your life too. They're very helpful. The other thing that I would really advise, and I know that it is not accessible for everybody, and it wasn't accessible for me for a very, very long time too, but it's therapy. If you can have access to it, if you can dig a little bit deeper into yourself, go for it. One advice that I could give you is do not expect to land from the first try on the therapist of your dreams and just to be able to feel comfortable and good and amazing. There are high chances that the first one might not be the best one for you, because see it as human relationships. Not all human relationships work out the way you'd like them to. Some of them fail pretty much. So make sure that you feel comfortable with them. Also make sure to put your boundaries. Like if they're saying, like if your therapist saying things in the way that make you feel a certain type of way, you know, like it, tell them. Maybe they can adjust their behavior. If not, try another one. If you can find free therapy, because I know that at least in France, because that's where I live, there are like lots of associations, like government structures that still offer free therapy. So if potentially you could have access to that, go for it. Do not forget there are also, if you cannot immediately pay, there are therapy books, there are therapy podcasts, there are YouTube videos, and there's also a very, very valuable thing that could be very, very therapeutic is friendships. To me, personally, it is such a blessing because I know that I have several friends who are just so amazing. And every single time I'm experiencing something, whether good or bad, I know that we can sit down and talk about it, and I'm going to feel good and uplifted. This is something you should always look for in all your friendships, to be uplifted in a way that really feels good for you. And only you know what feels good for you. I cannot tell you. I only know for myself. Yeah, those three things are already very helpful, meaning therapy, meaning looking back at when you were a teenager, and meaning listening to your own voice. Another thing, so first point is, some people, I don't fucking know how, I've been trying to understand, but some people naturally, and from the very early age of their life, they know what they want to do with themselves professionally and like overall later in life. I don't know how. I can perfectly well remember when I was still at school, we were like 11. I had a classmate who was passionate about becoming a doctor, and he told us when he was fucking 11 years old that he was going to become a brain surgeon. Well, guess what he's doing now? He's a fucking brain surgeon. How can you know? Me at 11 years old, girl, I was watching, like, I was listening to Britney, probably, because what else would you do when you're 11 years old? And to me it was natural. So I envy people who know what they want to do, because it is just such a blessing. It makes life considerably easier because you know that, okay, I'm gonna go to college, do that. That's how I'm gonna make money. And money is also such a big issue overall, and it's heavy on everybody, especially people from poor families. So knowing how you're gonna make money and how much money you're gonna potentially be making, you know, just leaves out all of pressure. You're like, okay, whew, that one, check. I know I didn't know shit about myself. So the only way, I mean, once again, I knew that I was interested in the creative fields, but I didn't know how to get there. So one thing that you should be doing is experimenting. And experimenting means trying new things all the time. And it is the only way to get you where you want to be, because you naturally, your body and your mind naturally going to sort out things and say, like, this thing is not for me. I'm really doing my best to like it, and I am not appreciating it. Listen to yourself. Really listen to all the signals. What is that? Oh, just some stupid notification. I thought maybe Uber Eats like wanted to offer me like free foods, but no, I'm gonna fucking have to cook for myself. What the fuck was I saying? Girl, I don't even think I can remember now. Never fucking mind. Oh, yeah, trying out new things. I'm sorry. Keep trying. Keep trying. There's no other way to do it. One after the other, and maybe you're gonna have to try 10 different things, maybe 15, maybe 1,000 different things. It really depends on you. But I would also say that when you try new things, unless you get like the reaction immediately and you're like, I cannot, no. But if you feel like you're still a little bit interested in it, do not just try it for like 2 days. Push it a little bit more. Just a little bit. Maybe the first month is hard, but the third one's going to be amazing. You still need to feel in your body like that grain of interest, like, this is something that makes me vibrate. If you don't have that grain, meh. But when you're very young and confused, it's harder to be able to feel that grain. Which leads me to the next point. Fifth point is listen to your body. It took me a lot of years to my life to be more connected and attuned with my body. And I still cannot say that, well, first of all, there is no like ultimate healing level of your life. There are always like some additional healings to do, and it's different for different people, but I'm still not where I want to be. Let's put it that way. However, I'm much better with my body because I know how to listen to it a little bit more than even like 2 or 3 years ago. So when I get a negative reaction from something, my body now dictates me, and I've learned to listen better to it. So start listening to your own body. There are things that can help you get more attuned with your body. Therapy is definitely one of them. Exercising is one of them, because you learn a lot about your body. You learn what are your limits. You learn how much you can push. You learn when your body tells you to start or to stop. You learn what you like in terms of activities, because some people like playing football. Some people like playing tennis. Some people like walking. I like walking. Girl, I can walk for fucking hours. And you really need to experience different states of your bodies to understand what it likes. But doing so really reconnects you with that. Meditation is definitely the great one. Journaling is also something that can help you feel your emotions. Because, for example, like in my case, I know that very often, at least in the past and still sometimes now, my body and minds were disconnected. So I need to talk about some things to feel them in my body. That could be your case too, and there's no shame in it. If that's how you experience emotions in your body a little bit later and you need to process them with your brain before, that's also fine. But just, getting connected with your own body is literally something that's gonna help you feel the reaction and not ignore it. And the sixth point, very important, is networking and community. And do not undermine the importance of networking in life. And I hate saying networking because I really, after working in music, I really see networking like as something weird and negative, where people are just not being like genuine about their intentions. And know that networking doesn't need to be that way. Know that not all networking like that. Networking can also come natural. Let's say your friends introduce you to some person, and then you like understand, like you realize that you're doing something similarly in life, or you want to pursue something similar, you start giving advice. So for me, networking is really exchanging with people and actively seeking advice from people who doing something that you like. Never seek advice in life from people who live the life that you hate and you don't want to have. This is not gonna lead you anywhere. Only seek advice from people who live the life of your fucking dreams. Maybe not all aspects, but some aspects of their lives make you say, girl, I fucking envy you. I want that for myself. So yeah, let's say you have the idea of doing something, you don't know how to do it. Go network. Find people who are doing something similar. Engage in like some type of community work. I don't know, it could be volunteering for something, because you know that, let's say you love animals. I love animals. Volunteer in an animal shelter. You know that you're gonna meet people who get you, not all aspects of you, but who get some aspects of you. Maybe these people are gonna help you. Do not isolate yourself like I fucking did for years. Get yourself out there just a little bit more. Talk to people, share your ideas, share as much as you can. At the beginning it's gonna be hard, but share, talk, and get all of this information. Also get it from social media, also get it from books. It's not always about being out there and like, oh, can I please know this? Can I please know that? I'm done. I'm really tired now. I hope that this was helpful. Definitely gonna talk more about it, because it's just something that I'm going through myself right now. And as I said, I found a job, so I'm like, okay, check. So what I really want to do. So I'll come back to you about that. But in the meantime, I really hope that it was helpful. And if you have any kind of thoughts on that, I would love to hear that, because talking about it helps me find myself too. Don't you fucking dare think that I'm just putting it out there like, I know so much and I just want to No, I'm not a fucking guru. I am a human being, and sharing my experience and getting some kind of feedback from people helps me learn more about myself and life, because we are all just out here on the fucking planet being confused. So you have a marvelous evening, everybody, and talk to you soon, because this time I'll do my best to come back on YouTube more frequently. Bye, bitches.